All right, so hello everyone, and I'm really glad to be here today to be able to present to you and tell you a little bit about Schneider Electric and tell you a little bit about our story and our journey into the social world, and specifically some of the reasons why we chose tibbr and why it's working really so well for us in our platform. So I'm going to describe, first of all, a little bit about the company. So Schneider Electric, at a glance here as a whole, we are a company of about 175 years old. And over that time, we've grown from about 35,000 employees to where we are today of more than 140,000 employees, mostly by acquisition. So in the last 2.5 decades or so, I think we've acquired somewhere in around 100 companies. So some quick stats on the company, as you can see right here. We do about 24 billion euro in sales annually. 41% of our sales are in new economies, which is significant when you talk about getting people together and being able to communicate and collaborate. We have over 150,000 employees with a recent acquisition that was just announced that is actually going to add another 16,000 people. And we devote about 4 to 5% of our sales to R&D efforts. And our promise to our customers is that we'll help them make their energy safe, reliable, efficient, productive, and green. And we work with our customers with hardware and software combined solutions to help them save up to 30% of their current energy costs. As I mentioned, being a company of acquisition and being as old a company as we are and as geographically diverse, we have complications in messaging. Being a 1D platform really doesn't help us get everybody together and get everybody into a place where they can easily share, they can easily communicate, they can easily collaborate and break those barriers of geography, region, time zone, and so on and so forth. So first of all, for us, the main one is if only Schneider knew what Schneider knows. Because currently, before the tibbr platform, that wasn't really possible. You know, we had acquisitions that were on different platforms, different email platforms, different intranets, so on and so forth. We do have one global intranet, but we hadn't really done a great job of putting a platform in place that could really pull all that together. So, you know, we've got many different lines of business, we've got many different functions, they're all spread out across the globe. Most teams within our company have people on their team that are in more than one country. And in several cases, it's 4 or 5, maybe 6 different countries. And other than messaging, in our case, which is Lotus Notes, we didn't have a platform that could pull all 140,000 people together into one place that made sense, that was efficient, that was easy to access, and so on. So these geographical and these cultural dynamics really complicated our efforts in being able to disseminate and share information. So what did we do? Well, we put together what we called originally the Social Enterprise Desktop Platform. And this platform connected in directly to our new company program that we started in 2012. And as you can see, we've got 4 pieces of pie there, and it was what we called our Connect program. So the goal of the Connect program was to be able to better connect to our customers, better connect to our people, to be able to connect everywhere and anywhere at any time, and also to be able to connect more efficiently. So we could achieve better organic growth, we could be able to acquire companies and integrate them better, and that we would also be able to access our diverse cultures in a much easier way. So what we have here is we have a direct link with the choice that we made in the tibbr platform, in that it gave us better customer-centric collaboration and knowledge-sharing capabilities. It really is helping us with our cultural transformation. And again, if you can imagine a company that's bought so many other companies that come in with their own culture, wanting to really understand what is the Schneider culture. So being able to reach out and share that kind of information and give everybody a platform to access that and to share. So information access. And then of course, being able to improve employee productivity and be able to share practices that are going on within all the different entities into a central place where other people can get access to those. You know, whether it be an HR practice for onboarding, or whether it be a finance practice or some other practice. So we chose tibbr, of course, and some of the reasons that we did choose tibbr are what you see on the screen here. So first of all, because it's really simple and it's really easy to use. There isn't a huge learning curve for our staff. Because it has a really good solid mobile experience. We're moving into the mobile world quite heavily with our own BYOD program as well, similar to what Men's Warehouse was talking about, in that we're allowing people to have access to tibbr, or what we've rebranded our platform to be called SPICE, which stands for Schneider Platform for Information, Collaboration, and Efficiency, or SPICE for short, on their mobile devices. Another reason we chose tibbr was because of the ability to integrate with other value-adding components, right? The hierarchical subject model, so that we could create a predefined top-level hierarchy, and then from there we could expand it out horizontally and have a hierarchical model that could be topic-based. Also because of the ease of rapid adoption. With a web-based platform, of course, it's quite easy and it's quite simple to simply give everybody access around the world. In our case, ours is, we have an intermediary, but it's more or less Active Directory or a single sign-on. So when users come in, they just have to click the URL and they can enter in and get direct, rapid access. And of course, as I mentioned, the fact that we can literally connect everybody around the world in one single platform. So the solution, what does it look like? So as I mentioned, we have tibbr as our core. So tibbr is our backbone of this global platform that we have. And our vision is that with this platform, again, we take that one-dimensional messaging platform that we used to use into truly a three-dimensional platform where we can add in all of these other value propositions. So what does that look like? It looks like this. So we have all of these different things now that we're able to integrate and use along with that core tibbr platform. And two of the most significant ones for us right now in the interim have been Box and WebEx. So as I mentioned, having so many staff spread all over the world, every site had a file server. So if you can imagine working with a geographical team, and in my example, I'm working with somebody in France, and I'm going to share a file with them from a US file server. So what do? They get the link and they click it and they go have a coffee. And then they come back and they get access to the file. In this case now with Box, it accomplishes a rapid efficiency change because they get instant access. It's put into a post. Once they've uploaded it to Box, anybody can get access that they want to post it to. And there's an added benefit in that when you upload from Box, you've created your file, you've made your post, you've linked it, because you're not actually uploading the file. What you're actually doing is you're putting a link in the post, right? Technically. So if I go back and I then update my file, after the fact, it doesn't matter. You still get that latest version of the file. There is revision control in the background, so you can always go back to previous versions, but you always get the latest version, which is just incredibly powerful. And for us, it's incredibly efficient when you consider there's no more need necessarily to have people accessing file servers in all these different places. They simply need to come to what we call SPICE and go to the post, and they get access to the file. And then WebEx is another one that, with the last upgrade, that we've also integrated so that people can actually launch. We have a lot of people running the productivity tools for WebEx with Lotus Notes so that they could run the WebEx one-click. And it worked really well, but again, it's a separate tool, separate step. And now it's quite nice because when you're in our platform, you can simply go to the left-hand side, click meetings, and start up a one-click meeting right away, or you can go and you can choose an event and you can create your WebEx component to that in the background automatically. And it puts a post on everybody's wall, it sends a link out to everybody. So really, really powerful. Also FormVine, so FormVine for things like HR onboarding, right? So we can automate a lot of those processes with forms and such that are integrated again right into the platform. People can come into a post and simply click on it, launch it, complete it, it's done. Really nice, really neat, really tidy. We've also done some things, or working on some things with Salesforce, integration, and a couple other ones that actually aren't necessarily on this slide, but another great example is with our IT ticketing system. So we're working on a project right now to do an escalation path so that if a ticket gets escalated, it actually gets posted to the person in the platform. so they get notified. It's pretty neat. And of course, search capability as well. So we're integrating as another component some search functionality to allow people to search all of our systems within our platform at the same time. So when we first started out, we looked at it and we thought about it. We knew we had, a great deal of people, and we wanted to have a seed. We wanted to have a base of people inside the platform that could be the example for all of the other folks that were coming in to use it. So what we did was we went out throughout the company and we basically searched for all the existing communities throughout all the entities on the various different platforms, and we brought, in fact, all 80 of them as the pilot group inside of our SPICE platform, or inside of tibbr. So we had this group of 80 communities that worked with us in the platform, that gave us feedback, that helped us work further with TIBCO, and asked for some slight modifications, and that process was excellent as well. It's been a really fantastic relationship. I'm not sure the individuals that you necessarily worked with, but I know I've been working with Billy Dre and Sriram and the group, and it's been really great. A lot of good support there. So we got the communities in, and we got them up and running, and Billy was instrumental in helping us, prod the communities and pass in information, help people understand how to share some of the use case examples that they had so other people could see those. And then once we got that going and we were happy with that, we then moved on to more of a big bang deployment. So what you end up natively having happen is, if you try to do a phased deployment, you get a group that you've deployed that wants to work with somebody that's not in the platform. So in our case, it actually created a lot of negative feedback where people went, well, this is great, but I can only work with Bob, I can't work with Ted, I need to work with Bob and Ted. So we went with the big bang approach, and we've launched it to the entire company. We liked the approach as well because we didn't have to do cleanup of the existing communities. We asked the communities to move in information that was already relevant for them, move in any files that they felt that was relevant for them, and then we were able to move forward. My team, I have 3 core teams. I have a team in APAC, I have a team in Europe, and I have a team in the Americas. And we are helping the various different individuals throughout our businesses to work on use cases and find different uses or different examples of where they're specifically finding value. So one of the main things we did to help to identify the use cases and help to be able to share those around the organization was we created this notion of a global adoption network, or what we call our collaboration network. We're working on a concept where we want to be able to get information out. And with an organization our size, if you can imagine global communications sends out a lot of different stuff. And if you can imagine being an individual getting, I don't know, maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 emails from that entity every single day, you could probably guess most people don't read all of them. So what we wanted to do was we wanted to create this adoption network where we asked for a collaboration leader to be appointed in every single country. So we actually have feet on the ground in each country. We have representation, and typically in an influential or at a fairly influential level, so that we can make sure that we get information out. And we also asked for collaboration champions in every site. So the collaboration champions in the sites work with the collaboration leaders. The collaboration leaders work with my team, and we help them by giving them examples of communications that they can send out. Like, for example, we've had a few where the country presidents have sent emails out, helping with awareness on the platform. Again, communications to help awareness. Also training material. We've created a lot of written and video-based training material that we've put out, and also just helping to reinforce the consistent message. So that information is getting out there, and it's getting out there consistently. Some of the signs of transformation, I'm running out of time, so I'm going to go a little bit quicker, that we've seen are we've had lots of rapid responses from experts to questions. One of the things we did was we created what we call a Work Smarter at IT subject, and it's in the top right-hand corner in a widget in our platform. And what it does is it allows us to crowdsource answers to IT problems. So rather than people having to go and log a ticket every time they have an IT problem, they can actually go and ask the global audience and see if somebody has something that they can help them with and solve that issue and reduce the burden on our global help desk. We've gotten a lot of feedback from across the enterprise through polls and surveys. We've seen issues getting resolved faster. We've seen more communities getting formed, both communities of practice and communities of interest. We've also seen a really interesting case where you can see the one post there with Subro Roy. And Subro was working on a bid for a project. And he was missing a component. And he wanted to see if we had that component somewhere within the company. And until we had this platform, he had no way of absolutely doing that. He made a post, and actually within a few minutes, he had people replying back with answers to his question. And not only answers, technical documents explaining the things he could do and he actually couldn't do. So in the end, he ended up getting all the information he needed. He ended up finding the component that he needed and making the bid for the job. We didn't get the job, but in the end, we wouldn't have been able to even bid it if he hadn't done that. How are we measuring this change? So the numbers you see on the screen here are, we have 95,000 accounts currently activated right now. Of the 95,000, it's actually up a little bit from that number now. It's a little over 46,000 that we have in the platform on a week-to-week basis. Considering new logins, we're getting an average of 500 new people coming into the platform every week based on the work we're doing within my team and the organic growth. And we have people in more than 114 countries that are connecting into the platform. And an interesting stat for me is that of the 46,000 people that we have already in the platform, we have 70% of those people that are coming back every single week and finding additional value in the platform. So a couple of the key takeaways that I wanted to just pass on to everyone that we found. Some of them we knew and some of them we learned along the way. So of course, implementing an enterprise social platform requires sponsorship, it requires communication, and of course it requires a lot of planning. I'd like to put an emphasis on the sponsorship because quite clearly for me and within our organization, you need your leaders to do more than just bless what you're trying to do. They need to get involved. They need to be an example because of course the leadership are the people that are going to ask their staff to use the platform. So if their staff aren't seeing them in the platform and seeing them visible, they don't necessarily get the connection why they have to use it. So it's really important to have leadership and have that solid sponsorship. The application of social enterprise, of enterprise social works best when you start small and you seed it, and then you grow from there. Again, it goes from a seed to a big bang very quickly. And then the last part is the communication strategy is really essential to the success of the platform. You really, for us, I think it was clear that we needed to be very clear with our staff on what we were doing, why we were doing it, how we were going to do it, and also keeping them updated along the way as we're making changes and as we're adding in new components to the platform so that there's a very clear value proposition on why we're adding things. And the fact that we're not just adding it because we're IT and we can add new things because we think they're cool. We're actually adding things that are bringing real value. And then the last one and the most important one, I think, with the generational differences we have, is that social collaboration is not a skill that can be taught overnight. I'm working with quite a few individuals within our company to help them evolve and learn this skill. It does come over time, but it is something that does evolve through practice and through the embracing of the behavioral change, because this is a social revolution. In our company's example, when you think about going from that 1D to all of a sudden this 3D application, it is a really serious, really fundamental change in the workflow, and not just the workflow of one person. It's the workflow of everybody in the company. So it's a massive, massive change. And then at the end of it, it's be prepared for a more active, a more collaborative, and a more open enterprise. And this is another one that needs serious consideration, is just the fact that you're going to have a much more open enterprise. People are going to be sharing things, and I think there's potential for some fear over what people might share, what they should share, what they shouldn't share. And a lot of thought has to go into how you regulate that if you choose to. Because it's something where if you over-regulate it, you will create problems right out of the gate. And again, the whole point for us is if Schneider only knew what Schneider knows. And we're on that journey. We're learning now what we know.
Thank you. Can I get a round of applause, please?